President Trump's fascination with tariffs is nothing new. From the early days of his campaign, he has consistently touted tariffs as a cornerstone of his economic strategy. He believes that imposing tariffs on foreign goods will protect American industries from unfair competition and bring back jobs that have been lost to globalization. This idea resonates deeply with his base, who feel left behind by the rapid changes in the global economy. He has long clung to the belief that they are a magic bullet for economic revival. To him, tariffs are not just a policy tool, but a symbol of American strength and self-reliance. He envisions a return to a time when American factories were the envy of the world, churning out goods that were proudly stamped "Made in the USA." This belief, rooted in a 19th century understanding of economics, disregards the complexities of global trade. The world has moved on from the days when countries could simply erect trade barriers and expect to thrive. Today, economies are deeply interconnected, and the flow of goods, services, and capital across borders is essential for growth and prosperity. Trump's worldview seems frozen in time, harking back to an era of industrial titans and protectionist policies. He often speaks nostalgically of the past, when American industry was at its peak and the country was a manufacturing powerhouse. This romanticized vision ignores the realities of the modern economy, where technological advancements and global supply chains have transformed the way goods are produced and traded. He sees tariffs as a way to punish rivals and reclaim American dominance. By imposing tariffs on countries like China, he aims to level the playing field and force them to play by the rules. However, this approach has sparked trade wars that have disrupted global markets and strained relationships with key allies. Trump's rhetoric often evokes images of smoky steel mills and bustling factories. He paints a picture of a bygone era when American workers were the backbone of the economy, and manufacturing was the bedrock of the nation's prosperity. This imagery is powerful and resonates with many who feel that the country has lost its way. He promises to bring back jobs and restore American manufacturing to its former glory. These promises are music to the ears of his supporters, who have seen their communities hollowed out by factory closures and job losses. They long for a return to a simpler time when hard work and determination were enough to secure a good life. His supporters cheer these promises, longing for a simpler time. They believe that tariffs will protect their jobs and revitalize their communities. However, the reality is more complicated, and the impact of tariffs is not always as straightforward as it seems. However, economists warn that tariffs are a blunt instrument. They argue that, while tariffs may provide short-term relief to certain industries, they can also lead to higher prices for consumers and retaliatory measures from other countries. This can create a cycle of escalating trade tensions that ultimately harms everyone involved. They can lead to unintended consequences, hurting consumers and businesses alike. Higher tariffs on imported goods can result in higher prices for everyday items, squeezing household budgets and reducing purchasing power. Small businesses that rely on imported materials may also struggle to stay afloat, leading to job losses and economic hardship. The world has changed dramatically since the days of high tariffs and trade wars. Today, global supply chains are intricately interwoven, and the success of one country is often tied to the success of others. Disrupting these supply chains can have far-reaching consequences that ripple through the global economy. Global supply chains are intricately interwoven. Products are no longer made in a single country but are assembled from components sourced from around the world. This interconnectedness has driven down costs and increased efficiency, benefiting consumers and businesses alike. Modern economies depend on the free flow of goods and services. Disrupting this flow with tariffs can create bottlenecks and inefficiencies that slow down economic growth. It can also lead to shortages of critical goods and higher prices for consumers. Trump's tariff policies threaten to upend this delicate balance, with potentially disastrous consequences for the global economy. While the goal of protecting American jobs and industries is laudable, the means of achieving it through tariffs may ultimately do more harm than good. The challenge lies in finding a way to support domestic industries without undermining the global economic system that has brought prosperity to so many. On March 31, 2025, the Oval Office was transformed into an unlikely stage for a policy announcement. President Trump, flanked by musician Kid Rock, held court before a bewildered press corps. The event, a bizarre blend of political theatre and economic pronouncements, set the tone for the unveiling of Trump's new tariff regime. Kid Rock, a vocal Trump supporter, praised the president's economic policies. He lauded the upcoming tariffs as a victory for American workers. The scene was surreal, a stark departure from the usual solemnity of the Oval Office. Critics were quick to pounce, accusing Trump of turning a serious matter into a publicity stunt. The presence of a rock star underscored the populist appeal of Trump's message. He was framing his tariff policies as a fight for the common man, a rebellion against the elites. The message resonated with his base, who saw him as a champion against a rigged system. Trump has dubbed April 2nd, 2025, as Liberation Day. This date is set to mark a significant shift in America's trade policy, a move that has been both anticipated and feared by many. The announcement has sent ripples through the global economic community, with analysts and experts scrambling to predict the potential outcomes. On this day, he promises to unleash a wave of tariffs on America's trading partners. These tariffs are expected to target a wide range of goods, from electronics to agricultural products, aiming to reduce the trade deficit and encourage domestic production. The administration believes that this move will revitalize American manufacturing and create jobs. The exact details remain shrouded in ambiguity. While the broad strokes of the plan have been outlined, the specifics are still being debated within the administration. This lack of clarity has left businesses and trading partners in a state of uncertainty, unsure of how to prepare for the impending changes. However, Trump has hinted at a system of reciprocal tariffs. This means that if a country imposes a tariff on American goods, the United States will respond with an equivalent tariff on goods from that country. This tit-for-tat approach is intended to level the playing field and ensure fair trade practices. This suggests that he intends to match the tariffs imposed on American goods by other countries. The goal is to make it less attractive for foreign nations to impose high tariffs on US products, thereby encouraging more equitable trade relationships. Supporters argue that this strategy will protect American industries from unfair competition. The proposed tariffs have sent shockwaves through the global economy. Financial markets have reacted with volatility, reflecting the uncertainty and potential risks associated with the new policy. Investors are closely monitoring the situation, trying to gauge the long-term impacts on international trade and economic stability. Businesses are bracing for disruption. Many companies rely on global supply chains and fear that the new tariffs will increase costs and complicate logistics. Some are considering relocating production to avoid the tariffs, while others are exploring ways to absorb the additional expenses without passing them on to consumers. Economists are warning of a potential trade war. They caution that the reciprocal nature of the tariffs could lead to escalating tensions and retaliatory measures from other countries. This could result in a cycle of increasing tariffs that would harm global trade and economic growth. The uncertainty surrounding Trump's plans has only amplified the anxiety. Businesses and investors are finding it difficult to make informed decisions without knowing the full extent of the tariffs and their potential repercussions. This environment of unpredictability is causing stress and concern across various sectors. Markets are volatile, reflecting the nervousness of investors. Stock prices are fluctuating as traders react to the latest news and speculate on future developments. The financial community is on edge, waiting for more concrete information and hoping for stability. Trump argues that these tariffs are necessary to protect American jobs and businesses. He believes that by imposing tariffs, he can reduce the trade deficit and bring back manufacturing jobs that have been lost to other countries. His supporters see this as a bold move to prioritize American interests and strengthen the domestic economy. He claims that other countries have been taking advantage of the United States for too long, engaging in unfair trade practices. By implementing these tariffs, Trump aims to hold these countries accountable and ensure that American businesses can compete on a level playing field. This narrative resonates with many who feel that the US has been treated unfairly in global trade. However, critics argue that tariffs are a self-inflicted wound. They contend that the costs of tariffs will ultimately be borne by American consumers and businesses. Higher prices for imported goods and materials could lead to inflation and reduced purchasing power, negatively impacting the economy. They will harm American consumers and businesses by driving up prices and disrupting supply chains. The increased costs of goods and potential shortages could lead to economic hardship for many, particularly those who are already struggling. The debate over the new tariff regime continues, with strong arguments on both sides and the world watching closely to see how it will unfold. Section 4. The price of protectionism, inflation and recession looming. Economists are sounding the alarm about the potential consequences of Trump's tariff policies. These tariffs, aimed at protecting domestic industries, could have far-reaching effects that extend beyond the immediate economic landscape. Experts are particularly worried about the ripple effects that could destabilize both national and global markets. They warn that tariffs could trigger a wave of inflation. This inflationary pressure could be felt across various sectors, from manufacturing to retail, making everyday goods more expensive for the average consumer. The cost of raw materials and components could skyrocket, leading to higher production costs and ultimately higher prices for finished products. Prices for consumer goods, from cars to clothing, could rise sharply. This would not only affect individual purchasing decisions, but could also lead to a broader economic slowdown as consumers tighten their belts. The increased cost of living could force families to cut back on non-essential spending, further dampening economic activity. This would erode the purchasing power of American consumers, leading to a decline in consumer spending. As disposable incomes shrink, the retail sector could see a significant downturn, affecting everything from small businesses to large retail chains. The knock-on effects could be severe, with potential job losses and reduced economic growth. The specter of recession also looms large. A prolonged period of economic stagnation could lead to widespread business closures and increased unemployment. The fear of a recession could become a self-fulfilling prophecy as businesses and consumers alike become more cautious with their spending. Tariffs could disrupt global supply chains, leading to shortages and delays. The interconnected nature of modern economies means that a disruption in one part of the world can have cascading effects elsewhere. Delays in the supply of essential goods could lead to empty shelves and increased prices, further exacerbating inflationary pressures. Businesses faced with higher costs and uncertain demand may be forced to cut back on investment and hiring. This could lead to a vicious cycle of reduced economic activity and increased unemployment. Companies may also struggle to maintain profitability, leading to further cutbacks and potential closures. This could tip the economy into a recession, reversing years of economic growth. The stock market, often seen as a barometer of economic health, could experience significant declines, eroding investor confidence and leading to further economic instability. The impact on retirement savings and investment portfolios could be profound. Goldman Sachs, a leading investment bank, has already increased its recession probability estimate in light of Trump's tariff announcements. The bank's analysts point to the potential for reduced economic growth and declining business confidence as key factors that could drive the economy into a downturn. The bank cites the risk of lower growth and declining business confidence as key factors. As businesses become more cautious, investment in new projects and expansion plans could be put on hold, further slowing economic growth. The resulting uncertainty could make it difficult for companies to plan for the future. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has also warned that a trade war would have serious consequences for the global economy. The IMF's analysis suggests that prolonged trade tensions could lead to a slowdown in global growth, affecting both developed and developing economies. The potential for a global recession looms large, with far-reaching implications for international trade and economic stability. Section 5. Mixed messages and market jitters. Adding to the uncertainty are the mixed signals coming from the Trump administration itself. While Trump talks tough on tariffs, he has also made contradictory statements, expressing a desire to be kind and nice in their implementation. This inconsistency has only added to the confusion, leaving businesses and investors unsure of what to expect. Global markets have reacted nervously to Trump's pronouncements. Key European and Asian indexes have closed lower, reflecting investor anxiety. Wall Street strategists are lowering their S&P 500 targets, anticipating a slowdown in economic growth. The volatility in the markets underscores the high stakes of Trump's gamble, The uncertainty surrounding Trump's tariff policies is creating a climate of fear and uncertainty in the business community. Companies are delaying investment decisions, uncertain about the future. This wait-and-see approach could further dampen economic activity, exacerbating the negative effects of the tariffs.